Okay, good morning, everyone. Good Chodesh. Wonderful to see all of you again. Says the Gemara, fourth line. Put on your thinking caps. Rabbi Yitzchak Omer, Chayave Krisus Bechlal Hayu Velama Yatses Kares Bachos. It gives the whole list of Kares, Chiyuve Kares, and then it goes ahead and it takes out and I guess reviews and says once again that you get Kares for Achoso, for your sister. So why is it going ahead and taking out Achoso again? And just to, before we go, just to give us a little bit of a background, it comes and takes out Achoso, and then within Achoso, it has the word Achoso twice. So we're going to darshan today the fact that it even brings up Achoso in the first place again, and the fact that there are Achoso dereisha, there's an extra word Achoso in the beginning. The pasuk says, V'isha shar yikach es Achoso, bas aviv o bas imo. If you take your sister, the daughter of your father, the daughter of your mother. So the word achosa there is extra. Could have just said if you take the daughter of your mother, the daughter of your father. And then it repeats, so today we're going to talk about why it even mentions achoso at all, when it already mentioned it. Why does it mention achoso de reisha? It seems like there's an extra word achoso in the reisha. And why is there achoso de seifa, an extra word achoso in the seifa? So says Rabbi Yitzchak, the reason that it mentions achoso in the first place is to be yotze min aklal, lilamed al aklal kulo yatsa. That what? Ladunu bekares v'lo b'malchus. To tell you that when you have something that you're chayav kares for, you get kares and not malchus. So he lists a whole list of things that are kares, and then it reiterates at the very end, it gives one example, and says for this thing you get kares. You already told me you get kares for this thing, to tell me that every single thing that you get kares for, you get kares and only kares, not malchus. The Rabbanan kares bachos olamali, the Rabbanan who say that you can get kares and you can get malchus for the same thing. You can get malchus even when there's a chiyuve kares. So then kares bachos is not excluding malchus from kares. So then kares bachos alamali, the fact that it brings this whole pasuk of achoso again, what's that for? Lechalik. To be machalik. What does that mean? Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan, Shimasan kulam b'halim echad. If you're with multiple arayos, so he gave a whole list of arayos and it says you get kares. Now, if you're with multiple people, or let's say you're with one person that you get kares for, you're with one person b'shogig, what do you get? When there's kares, there's a chatas. Therefore, let's say you're with multiple people b'halim echad without knowing that it's usher to be over arayos. Imasan kulam b'halim echad chayav al kol achas v'achas. So lechalik means that had you just had the whole list, you would think that if you think that all arayos in mutter, it's okay to be over arayos. So then if you were multiple arayos in one time without knowing arayos is a problem, you would bring one chatas. The fact that it reviews and says achoso at the end comes to be mechalik and says that each of those arayos that we just mentioned, if you do all the mehalim echad, you're going to be chayav al kol achas v'achas. That's what lechalik means, to split them up. So now you have again, and we're going to have the whole day like this. Anytime, as you know, anytime you have one person say something and then somebody else doesn't agree with that, but he learned something else from that pasuk, now we go back to the first guy and say, well, what does he learn from that pasuk? Well, he learns that from that pasuk, but how does this guy know that thing? And you keep going until you run out of room and you get to a two dots, or until you get to a point where obviously usually what happens is one guy says, I don't hold of that, or I don't learn that Gzeirat Shava, or I disagree with that learning, or whatever it is. That's how it usually goes. So today we're going to have that. So over here we have again, we have that kares ba'achos. Rabbi Yitzchak says when there's kares there's no malchus, and the Rabbanan say lechalik. Says the Gemara, V'Rabbi Yitzchak lechalek minale. So now where does Rabbi Yitzchak learn lechalek from? Nafkale mive'el isha benida tumata. It's to the shed, ula nida lo tikrav. What does it mean, ve'el isha? To a woman, benida tumata, lechayev al kol isha v'isha. To say that if you're with multiple women who are benida, behelem echad, you're going to be chayev for each one. V'Rabbanan nami tepok lemeha, einach nami. You're right. The Rabbanan can really learn from here. So everybody agrees that ve'el isha benida tumata is l'chalik, that by any of the arayos, if you're over many arayos at once, l'maisa l'chalik, you can have a chatas for each one. What's the problem now? Now the problem is, so then what does the Rabbanan do with kares ba'achoso? If in fact he doesn't need it for l'chalik, what does he do with kares ba'achoso? Ve'al kares ba'achoso lamali, l'chayvo al achoso, ve'al achos aviv, ve'al achos imo. That you can be chayv not only for your sister, you can be chayiv for your father's sister and your mother's sister. Says the Gemara, I don't understand. Pshita, behalim echad. We already know that you're chayiv for each one because the pasuk says by each one. But if you're with your sister and your father's sister and your mother's sister, all without knowing that that's aser, you're going to be chayiv chatas for each. Pshita, that's obvious. Hare gufin muchlakin, hare shemas muchlakin. In essence, what the Gemara is saying, i.e., they're different people. and different names, and you just told me that what? Ve'el isha b'nidat tumata is lechalek. Therefore, that's pashut. What do I need another thing? If I know from ve'el isha b'nidat tumata lechalek, that's obvious that includes my sister, with my father's sister, with my mother's sister, with 8 other arayos. What's the difference? Says the Gemara, rather, no. Ela lechayvo, al achoso, shehi achos aviv, shehi achos imo. So he's saying no. L'chalek, we know ve'el isha b'nidat tumata. What do you need karis b'achoso? What do you need a special learning by achoso? You need it because it's possible not to have an achoso who is also your aunt on both sides. That's if you have 3 different people. It's obvious we already know l'chalek. But if there happens to be a case where somebody is your sister, and at the same time it's your father's sister, and at the same time it's your mother's sister, achoso, karis b'achoso teaches me you're going to be chayav for all 3. How is it possible that it could be your sister and your father's sister, and your mother's sister? Well, you live in certain places where this is accepted. When you get home today, if you like math equations, this is a good math equation to do. Look at the right. Haba al imo, v'hol it shtei banos. Hard to imagine. So you have relations with your mother, a son with a mother, and you have 2 girls. So now those 2 girls are your sisters and your daughters. V'chazar ubal achas mehen. So now you have a relation with your sister/daughter. V'holid ben. So now he's your grandson and your nephew. He's your grandson and your nephew. Ubaha eben al achos imo. He has relations with his mother's sister, the original girl. Son and mother have 2 girls, right? The son and mother have 2 girls. The son goes with one of the girls and has a son. That son goes with the other original girl. That original girl, when you do the math, he's being with his sister, because it's the same father. He's being with his mother's sister and his father's sister. Don't try it at home. Says the Gemara, that's what kares ba'achoso is teaching us. Kares ba'achoso is teaching us that in that specific case, again, what's the chiddush there? It's just an example. Again, we always think of like, oh, it's an example. It could be not such a crazy case. And anytime the Gemara does, it's not saying that specific case is going to happen. But there could be a case which is not so crazy that it could be your sister and this sister. And it could be 2 arayos at the same time with the same person. That's the point. The case of the ve'el isha b'nidat tumata is teaching us l'chalek when you have separate people. You have 3 separate people, b'halei machad, you're chayav for all of them. This is coming to teach me, achoso bekaris is coming to teach me that even if you have the same person with 2 different isurim on that same person, both of those things will be l'chalek over here, and you'll have to bring 2 korbanos chatos by arayos. That's the point of the Gemara over here. For Rabbi Yitzchak, haminale, how does Rabbi Yitzchak know this case of 1 person? Again, just as the extreme, achoso sheyachos imo sheyachos aviv. Says Gemara, nafkale mikav v'chomer. He learned it from a kav v'chomer. Why? Detanya, Rabbi Akiva, sha'alti yis Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Yeshua bet l'shalimu shahalchu likal beim l'mishra ben Osher Rabbi Gamliel. The 3 rabbis went to the marketplace to go buy food for Rabbi Gamliel's son's wedding. So they asked Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua, what's the story in this case? He said, good question. I never got that question before. You're only going to be chayav for 1. You're going to be chayav 3 chatases for the same woman. Amrulo lo shamanu. Sorry, never got that. But we heard if you're with 5 women, you can be chayav al kolachas. What are they going to say back to him? What's the problem? There, if it's all 5 are nidas and you're going to be chai for each one, clearly when it's 3 different names, you're going to be chai for each one. What's the problem with that kav chomer? There, it's 5 different people. Here, it's only 1 person. V'ida kav chomer prichahu. It's a kav chomer pricha because it's only 1 person. You can't compare and say, oh, they're all nidas and yeah, you're chaya 5. Over here, where they're achos or achosim achos aviv, you'll be chaya for sure 3. Why? Because over here it's only 1 person. It's a kav chomer pricha. Mal nida shekain gufin muchlakin. It's different people. Ela nafgale me'achoso deseifa. Rather, we throw out and we say that how does Rabbi Yitzchak know that you're going to be chayiv in this specific case? Me'achoso deseifa, like I mentioned to you, that extra part at the end of the sefer that says ervas achoso gila. So achoso deseifa. So now again it comes out. Kares ba'achos, so Rabbi Yitzchak says, when kares no malchus. Rabbanan say that achos imo, achos aviv, and achoso, this special case, 3 chatatzes. That's kares ba'achos. Eli shabbat mata, they all learn is l'chalek. Achoso de sefer now, Rabbi Yitzchak is going to learn what the Rabbanan learned from kares ba'achoso. The fact that he even brings that pasuk, he's going to learn from achoso de sefer that you're going to be chayiv in that case of achoso she'y achos aviv she'y achos imo. So what are we left with now? What do Rabbanan do with achoso de sefer? Says the Gemara, "V'idach achoso d'sefer lamali lechayvo al achoso bas aviv ubas imo lomar she'ein onshin min adin." Very interesting. He says that when it talks about the onesh for your sister, it talks about in the pasuk v'ish asher yikach es achoso bas aviv o bas imo. In the pasuk, it seems to sound like you're going to be chayav onesh, you're going to get misa, you're going to get kares for taking your sister from your father or your sister from your mother, either your half sister or your whole sister, either your half sister or your stepsister. Where do you know your whole sister? So you would have said kal v'chomer. If I'm chayiv kares for taking my half sister, if I'm chayiv kares for taking my stepsister, for sure I'm going to be chayiv for taking my whole sister. Says the Gemara, according to Rabbanan, you can't learn that kal v'chomer, because what do we have? We have a rule that ein onshin min adin. Even though it's a good kal v'chomer, we never give an onesh min adin. Therefore, we need achoso de seifa to teach us that what? Achoso de seifa teaches us that if it's your regular sister, you'll get kares as well. V'idach. So now again, what is Rabbi Yitzchak going to do with Achos? Now what is Rabbi Yitzchak going to do? Because Rabbi Yitzchak learned Achoso de Sefer to teach me what? This case where she's your sister and your father's sister and your mother's sister. So where does Rabbi Yitzchak now know a regular sister from? He doesn't have Achoso de Sefer like the Rabbanan have to learn a regular sister you're going to get kares for. So the Gemara is going to give 2 suggestions. Idach, 1, Iba Yisema Gamar Onesh Me'ashara. Either we can learn the onesh from the ashara. What does that mean? That by the ashara there's an extra word achoschahi. Look at Rashi. Dil inyan ashara ksiv achoschahi. Yisera la'azir al achos b'asaviv u'basimo. That means that there's an extra achoscha by the ashara. So that achoscha teaches us not only your half sister or stepsister, but also your whole sister. Says the Gemara, we can learn from the ashara to the onesh. Now that's not a problem of ein onshin min adin. Ein onshin min adin is only through a kal v'chomer. You can be onshin from a gezerat shava. So the Gemara is making a gezerat shava from achoscha to achoscha, from the ashara to the onesh, a gezerat shava that you can go ahead and you can punish even for a whole sister. The Gemara clearly doesn't love this answer because anytime it gives an ibay same, it doesn't love the answer, because according to that, why would Rabbana not make that? So clearly it sounds like we're not going to make that gezerat shava. So rather we're going to give another suggestion. Ibay same again. How does Rabbi Yitzchak know that a regular sister will be punished with kares if it only says bas imo o bas aviv? Nafkale me achoso dereisha. We're going to that achoso dereisha that I mentioned before, which is extra. So now, according to him, achoso dereisha is onesh by a regular sister. What's going to be the problem now? What does Rabbi Yitzchak, what does the Rabbanan do with achoso dereisha? So now the Rabbanan say, v'idach ahumi baile lechalek kares lemefate mulasach. There is a pasuk which says as follows: Al bisar adam lo yisach u'v'makunaso l'tatzu kamo kodeshu. There's a pasuk which tells us that there's 2 isurim. First of all, you're not allowed to be mefatim. Mefatim usually it's to fatten, but over here it means you're not allowed to grind and make the shemen hamishcha. You cannot make your own shemen hamishcha, and you cannot put on the shemen hamishcha that Moshe Rabbeinu made. 2 separate isurim. One is to make the shemen hamishcha, and the other one is to put on the shemen hamishcha even if Moshe Rabbeinu made it. So now both of those lavin are in one pasuk. So one might think that if you do both of those, you make your own shemen hamishcha, and you go ahead and you anoint yourself with the shemen hamishcha of Moshe, and you do both of those b'halei mechad without knowing that it's aser, they're both in the same pasuk. What would you think? You would think that the kares that says don't do this and don't do that, and you're going to get kares. So one would think that if you do both b'halei mechad, you're only going to get one kares because they're both in the same pasuk, and then it says you get kares for that. Similar to all of the arayos were listed, but the difference is that by the arayos it wasn't one pasuk. Over here it's one pasuk. So by the arayos you could say that the kares at the end is going lechalek, as we said, each one individually. But over here they're both in the same pasuk, and then it says kares at the end. You would think that b'halei mechad you only chayav one. Says over here that we're learning from achoso dereisha that in that case you're going to be chayav. So somebody asked a good question, and this is really a general question on the Gemara. How is this working? Achoso dereisha, from achoso, in this case of achoso, we're learning that you're going to be mechalek by mefatim and tzach. So it's based on the im'eno inyan lizet and inyan ledavar acher. If you have an extra achoso here and you don't have anything to do with it, how exactly did Chazal decide to take this achoso over here and this thing and say we're going to learn over there? That I don't know. You could ask that question anytime there's an eno inyan lizet. The two things are totally unrelated. But the point is that the Gemara is saying that he's going to take that extra achoso dereisha and he's going to learn it lechalek by mefatim mesach. So now the only question becomes, what is Rabbi Yitzchak going to do? Is he going to learn? So if you see a two dots here, then you'll know that Rabbi Yitzchak is what? He's not going to be lechalek by mefatim mesach. But the Gemara keeps going. So now how is Rabbi Yitzchak going to be mechalek and say that if you do both mefatim and sach, you make your own shemen mishcha and your sach with the one of Moshe Rabbeinu, behalim echad, if it's in the same pasuk, it says kares, it seems like one kares. How do you know lechalek? You're going to get two different punishments. Savar k'Rabbi Elazar bar Rabbi Hoshaya. You don't need a pasuk lechalek. Kol makom shatamot say shnei lavin v'kares echad in one pasuk. Chalukin hey lekorban. He holds that there's a general klal. Anytime you have two lavin and kares in one pasuk, again different than the arayos, you're going to be mechalek and you're going to go ahead. So you don't need achoso dereisha according to Rabbi Yitzchak. You clearly know it from the fact that you have two lavin and one kares, that the kares is going to go on both b'halei mechad. V'ibai saying the Gemara doesn't like that. Gemara says, no, we're not going to hold like that. Lo savalak Rabbi Elazar. So if we're not holding like Rabbi Elazar again, how will Rabbi Yitzchak know that when you have both of these things, b'halei mechad, you're going to get two korbanos and not just one korban? V'nafkale mi v'ish asher yishkav es isha dava. Another eino inyan lezeh. If a woman has relations with an isha dava, with a nida, now we already know that a woman is not allowed to be if she's been nida with a man. So this v'ish asher yishkav isha dava is an eino inyan lezeh. This extra v'isha sherjikav, we already know that Anita gets kares. Therefore, Rabbi Yitzchak will go ahead and he'll say it teaches us lechalek by mefatim and sach. What's the last thing we need now? So what are the Rabbanan going to do with isha sherishkav es isha dava? So Rabbanan will come along and say, they're going to learn that the blood needs to come through the vaginal area, it needs to go in the regular flow of a woman. And if it just comes out because she has a nosebleed, she's not going to become a nida. Which is interesting, because that sounds like according to Rabbi Yitzchak, if a woman has a nosebleed, she could become benida. Again, he might say that's not true. It's just so obvious I don't need to teach it. But that's where the Gemara ends. So again, just a chazer, we have four things. We have five things. Kares ta'achoso, Elisha b'timasnu, Elisha b'nidatu mata, achoso de seifa, achoso de reisha, and ish asher yishkav es isha dava. Kares ba'achoso, the fact that it brings it at the first place. Rabbi Yitzchak says when you have kares, you have no malchus. Rabbanan say it comes to be mechalik in that crazy case, or when you have achoso, achosimo, achosaviv. Elisha b'nidatu mata, they all agree as a chalik for the multiple arayos b'halim echad. Achoso de seifa, according to Rabbi Yitzchak, is that crazy case, and according to Rabbanan, it's teaching me a regular sister. Achoso and Achoso dereisha is going to tell us, according to Rabbi Yitzchak, a regular sister. Rabbanan is going to tell me lechalek by mefatim and by sach. And isha yishkav es isha dava, Rabbi Yitzchak is going to tell me that's mefatim and sach. And Rabbanan will tell me that the nida is only derech ervasa. Good?
Why do you have to go so far to say nosebleed? Why can't it just be, refer?
Go to refer when she had surgery, it comes out of the stomach. I wouldn't say nosebleed. I was being extreme. I was saying if it comes from the makor, a nosebleed is not coming from the makor. But let's say she has surgery on her stomach. I think to give an example.
The general area.
In the general area. So we're saying that it is uterine blood, but it's not coming through the uterine. And this whole discussion now with the cervix, and correct, but I was giving a little bit of an extreme. I wanted to make sure you're still up, but yes. Zog the Gemara, you're right. It's talking about when you have surgery there and it doesn't come through the natural ways, then it's not so pashut.
Yeah.
Correct. So again, it's not clear though what Rabbi Yitzchak would hold. Rabbi Yitzchak would either say it's not true, or Rabbi Yitzchak will say I don't need to tell you that. Zog the Gemara, v'tamei shachal as hakodesh. Okay, that was the easy part. V'tamei shachal as hakodesh. If a tamei eats kodesh, so he is going to get kares. Bishlama habal mikdash tamei ksiv onesh uksiv asara. Again, anytime you have something, you need to have an asara and you need to have a onesh. Now, asara might not be clear, but you have to have an asara in the pasuk. You have to have an onesh in the pasuk. So says the Gemara, onesh for bal mikdash. This is not a tamei she'achal atz kodesh. This is a bal mikdash tamei. Onesh l'tziv es mishkan Hashem timei v'nichrasa. Ashara because it says v'lo yitamu es machanehem. Ela tamei she'achal atz kodesh. Bishlama onesh ksiv nefesh asher tochal. Basar mizevach hashlam masher Hashem v'tumaso alav v'nichrasa. Clearly says the onesh for a tamei she'achal kodesh. But an ashara minayin, el ashara minayin. Where do you see an ashara? Reish Lakish Omer b'chol kodesh lo tiga. What's this talking about? This is talking about a woman that has a child who's tamei. So this is talking about a tamei should not touch. Now, obviously, this is going to be interesting because this seems to be talking about an ashara for what? An ashara for touching. We're trying to find an asara for a tamei that eats kodesh. And over here, Reish Lakish seems to be saying, B'chol kodesh lo tiga, teaches me an ashara for a tameh who eats kodesh. Rabbi Yochanan Omer, Tarni Bardula. Rabbi Yochanan says Tarni Bardula. Asya tumaso tumaso. It's a gezerat shava for the asara. Ksiv hachad v'tumaso alav v'nichrisa. It says by the onesh for tamei she'achal kodesh tumaso alav uchsiv hasam, and it says by a bal mikdash tamei ye'o tumaso bo. Should be tamei and o tumaso bo. So it says the word tumaso. Malahal and onesh v'ashara. Just like over there, you're right. We have no ashara over here by the tamei she'achal kodesh, but since we have an ashara by a tamei that goes into the mikdash, therefore you can learn that ashara with the gezerat shava to hear afkan onesh v'ashara. So step number 1. Onesh by tamei she'achal kodesh v'nefesh asher tochal v'tumaso alav v'nichrisa. Ashara by tamei she'achal kodesh machlokes. Reish Lakish says b'chol kodesh lo tiga, and Ri says gezerat shava from habal mikdash tamei. Bishlama Reish Lakish lama Rabbi Yochanan gezerat shava lo gamer. We said that in order to learn a gezerat shava, you have to have a misora from your teachers. So I understand why Reish Lakish will not say like Rabbi Yochanan that it's a gezerat shava, and therefore he has to learn b'chol kodesh lo tiga. Ela Rabbi Yochanan my time alama Reish Lakish. Why can't he learn from b'chol kodesh lo tiga to teach the asara by a tamei she'achal kodesh? Amar lecha hu asara l'truma, because tamei is not talking about b'chol kodesh lo tiga is not talking about kodesh. It's talking about truma, and really b'chol kodesh lo tiga is an ashara to touching truma. For Reish Lakish, ashara l'truma minale. So if Reish Lakish is learning b'chol kodesh lo tiga to be an ashara l'tamei she'achal kodesh, again, kodesh and truma are two different things. So if he's learning it as an ashara for tamei eating kodesh, and Ri is learning it as an ashara for touching truma, so where does Reish Lakish know that you're not allowed to touch or eat truma? He's learning b'chol kodesh lo tiga to be kodesh. Nafgalei me ish mizera Aaron v'hu tzaru azav. There's a pasuk that says that an ish mizera Aaron. Ezu davar shu shava b'zar shel Aaron. When it talks about tumah by something that's shava l'davar shel Aaron. Not all the kohanim can eat the same things. When it comes to kodesh, certain kohanim get to eat certain things get to eat this. Have a omer zo truma. But what's equal to all kohanim? What do all kohanim get no matter what? They all get truma. Therefore, ish mizera Aaron, that's the ashara to truma. And over there, it sounds like Reish Lakish is not making an nafkamina between touching and eating. He'll say that the asara for touching and eating truma when you're tamei, that's all from ish. V'idach, what's Rabbi Yochanan going to say that we already have an asara to truma? He'll say, no, ahu la'achila. Ish mizera Aaron is an asara to eating truma. The one of b'chol kodesh lo tika is an asara ha l'negia. So it comes out again. You have 3 things. You have the ashara for tamei she'achal kodesh, according to Reish Lakish, is b'chol kodesh lo tiga. According to Ri, it's a gezerat shava. Therefore, b'chol kodesh lo tiga, again, according to Reish Lakish, is an ashara for tamei she'achal kodesh. The Ri says it's not talking about kodesh, that's an ashara for touching truma. If that's an ashara for touching truma, where does Reish Lakish know truma? He learns both eating and touching truma from ish mizera Aaron, and Ri learns just eating truma from ish mizera Aaron, and he learns touching truma from b'chol kodesh lo tiga. So what's the only problem now? What are we missing? We're missing Rabbi Yochanan learning about eating truma. Where does he learn it from? He learns it from the gezerat shava. So everything is good to go. Again, because the difference was that Reish Lakish was able to learn both things, eating and touching truma from ish mizera Aaron, and Reish Lakish and Ri split it up to 2 things. He split up eating from ish mizera Aaron, and he split up touching from b'chol kodesh lo tiga, and he already knows a tamei she'achal kodesh from the gezerat shava. Fine. Zak the Gemara. Reish Lakish, hi, b'chol kodesh lo tiga lahachi udasa. It's very glad. We could have stopped the daf here, but the problem is that your suggestion that Reish Lakish is learning b'chol kodesh lo tiga to be an azhara for tamei she'achal kodesh is not true. Hahumi baile l'tamei shenaga b'kodesh. We learned that a tamei it says b'chol kodesh. You want to learn that b'chol kodesh means truma, fine, but it says b'chol kodesh lo tiga. How can you learn that that's talking about? How can you learn that that's talking about eating? And again, you can't make a kal vachomer over here seemingly either. Says the Gemara, D'itmar, tamei shenaga b'kodesh, Reish Lakish omer loke. If you touch the kodesh, you get malchus. Rabbi Yochanan omer eino loke. Reish Lakish omer loche, b'chol kodesh lo tiga. Rabbi Yochanan omer eino loke, hu asara l'truma hudasa. So what do you see over here? You see that Reish Lakish needs b'chol kodesh lo tiga not to touch truma. How can you say here that he's using it as an asara not to eat kodesh? I'm sorry, he says that he's using it as an asara not to touch kodesh when you're tamei. How can he say that he's using it as an asara not to eat kodesh when you're tamei? Tamei shenaga bekodesh mida'afke rachmana belashon negia ashara it goes kodesh lemikdash. What's this talking about? So Rashi explains that the way that he's going to explain that why b'chol kodesh lo tiga is not about touching kodesh is because the end of that pasuk says b'chol kodesh lo tiga v'el hamikdash lo tavo. And it needs to be that mikdash lo tavo. We know that, again, this is the ashara. But we know from the punishment that ve'ala mikdash lo tavo, you're only punished with death if you go into the mikdash tameh. Right? Ve'ala mikdash lo tavo. It's talking about, this is an ashara, ve'ala mikdash lo tavo. You're only punished by the mikdash if you go into the mikdash. That's when you get death. If you go into mikdash, you get death. So ve'ala mikdash lo tavo is a warning, therefore, for what? It's a warning for something that carries the death penalty. Therefore, b'chol kodesh lo tiga, the Gemara says, must be a warning for something that carries the death penalty as well. If ve'ala mikdash lo tavo, the end of the pasuk is a warning for something that carries the death penalty, i.e. walking into the mikdash, then b'chol kodesh lo tiga must be a warning for something that carries the death penalty as well. We know that the onesh for touching kodesh is not the death penalty. The onesh, again, this is the ashara, the onesh we already know, for eating kodesh is the death penalty. Therefore, bechol kodesh lo tiga, if it's going on something as a warning for something that you'll be chayav misa for, it must be going, as we know from the onesh, it must be going on eating kodesh and not touching kodesh, because we know from the onesh that you only get misa for eating kodesh and not for touching kodesh. Not easy. Says the Gemara, V'akati lahachi udasa. That's nice, beautiful. So you explain to me how b'chol kodesh lo tiga is an ashara l'tamei she'achal kodesh and not for tamei she'naga b'kodesh. The problem is that we know that you really need b'chol kodesh lo tiga for something else. Hahu mibayle l'tamei she'achal basar kodesh lifnei zrikas damim. Means you just told me that b'chol kodesh lo tiga teaches me that a person who's tamei cannot eat kodesh. And we have the onesh somewhere else. The problem is, that's nice, but maybe that's only teaching me that the person who's tamei cannot eat kodesh after the zrikas dam. The Gemara seems to imply that it also teaches me that you can't eat kodesh before the zrikas dam. One would think that you'd only be chayav, maybe you'd only be chayav for eating it after the zrikas dam, after the thing is 100% kodesh, after it's been brought on the mizbeach, after it's been thrown on the mizbeach. But how do you know that you can't eat it, or if you eat it betuma, even before it's been thrown on the mizbeach, you're also being chayav kares? So we said over there that it says bechol kodesh lo tiga. So how could it be an asara l'tamei she'achal kodesh across the board if you're using it as an asara for tamei, as if you're using it as an asara for before zrikas dam? And again, the Gemara is not comfortable making a kal v'chomer. If you're going to be asara before, then for sure afterwards. The Gemara doesn't seem to want to make a kal v'chomer for that either. De'idmar tamei she'achal basar kodesh lifnei zrikas dam Reish Lakish omer loka v'Rabbi Yochanan omer ein loka. Reish Lakish omer loka bechol kodesh lo tiga loshna lifnei zrika v'loshna le'achar zrika. Rabbi Yochanan omer ein loka. Rabbi Yochanan l'tamei de'amar kra tumaso v'chi ksiv tumaso lachar zrika hu dichsiv. So Rabbi Yochanan, who says that you don't get kares for eating it before the zrika, is because he's learning from the pasuk before of tumaso, and just like tumaso over there is lachar zrika. Where's that? Rashi. Rabbi Yochanan l'tamei, third wide line. Rabbi Amar asar la'ochal kodesh b'tumaso nafka mitumaso tumaso hu tumaso lav k'tiba onesh dekadesh la'achar zrika hu detani b'toras kanim. Ma'asina lav b'menachos berek shishiyachol yuchaven alav mishum tuma kodem zriyotam alomar kol tor yochal bas v'never shotochal basar hanetar l'torim chayav alav mishum tuma she'in nitar l'torim ein chayav alav mishum tuma. So he's learning from Gzeirat Shava, they're only going to be chayiv after zrika. So now the problem again becomes, according to Rabbi Yochanan, we have no problem. He says you're only chayiv after zrika. But according to Reish Lakish, you're chayiv before zrika. So he learns from Bechol Kodesh Lo Tiga that you're chayiv before zrika. But how do you know again that you're going to be chayiv after zrika if you're learning it from Bechol Kodesh Lo Tiga for before zrika? Says the Gemara, Hahi mi Bechol Kodesh Nafka. What could it have said? It could have said Kodesh Lo Tiga. Kodesh Lo Tiga, what would you have learned? Kodesh lo tiga, you're going to be chayav for eating, because we said lo tiga means eating here. Kodesh lo tiga, you're going to be chayav for eating it after the zrika. What's kol kodesh lo tiga? Bechol kodesh lo tiga. The extra bechol adds before as well. And it comes out therefore that according to Reish Lakish, it's going to add the bechol, is going to add even before. Tani kavasi de Reish Lakish. We have a brisa like Reish Lakish who says as follows: B'chodesh lo tiga asar la'ochel. Atom asar la'ochel ve'eno el asar la'nogea. Again, he said that B'chol Kodesh is an asar l'tamei she'achal kodesh, and Rabbi Yochanan said that it was asar l'truma. How do you see that? Where do you see a brisa that supports that it's an asara for kodesh and not for truma? Talmud B'chol Kodesh l'gav yal mikdash makish kodesh l'mikdash ma mikdash davar sheish bo netilas neshama av kol davar sheish bo netilas neshama. Like we said, v'yim negia mi'ika netilas neshama ela b'achila. So just a chazer again what we just said. So we have a glot. Tamei she'achal kodesh. What do we learn? Onesh, everybody agrees. We're going to stop here. Nefesh asher tochal v'tumaso alav v'nichrasa. The onesh by tamei she'achal kodesh is clear. What's the ashara? Reish Lakish says b'chol kodesh lo tiga. Rabbi Yochanan says Gzeirat Shava from Habal Mikdash Tamei. Fine. So now b'chol kodesh lo tiga. Reish Lakish again says that's going to be an ashara l'tamei she'achal kodesh. According to Ri, it's not going to be an ashara for tamei sha'achal kodesh. It's going to be an ashara for touching truma. So it's like two extremes. Rabbi Yisrael says b'chol kodesh lo tiga is an ashara for eating kodesh, and Ri is saying it's an ashara for touching truma. Now ish mizera Aaron, according to Reish Lakish, that's going to be an ashara for all of truma. So you have an asara for all of truma mi ish asher mizer Aaron. Therefore, you can learn b'chol kodesh lo tiga to no longer need to talk about truma. Now it's talking about kodesh, and it's talking about eating kodesh. And from the word b'chol, it's not just eating kodesh after; it's eating kodesh before this week as well. And Ri, who says that b'chol kodesh lo tiga is an ashara for truma, touching truma, he'll say ish mizer Aaron is an ashara for eating truma ba'achila. So the only thing that again, and then he's going to learn again the ashara for, he's going to learn the ashara for tamei sha'achal kodesh has nothing to do with b'chol kodesh lo tiga. It has nothing to do with ish mizera Aaron. That's all talking about truma according to him. And according to Ri, how do you know the ashara for tamei sha'achal kodesh? That's from the gzerat shava of haba lemikdash tamei. Okay.